name is Wendy Perry, and I am a parental alienation awareness and education advocate. I'm one of the subjects of the documentary Divorce Court, and unfortunately I'm also an alienated parent. I want to welcome you to Parental Alienation Awareness Day. Actually, this is the 11th annual International Parental Alienation Awareness Day. So all around the world, between now and April 25th, there will be many events related to parental alienation awareness and education. It's also known as Bubbles of Love Day, and this is our 6th year to do a Bubbles of Love Day DFW event. If you'd like to learn more about parental alienation awareness and about Parental Alienation Awareness Day, I encourage you to visit www.paawarenessday.com or bubblesofloveday.com. For those of you who don't know, parental alienation is when one parent tries to damage or destroy the relationship that a child has with the other parent. So it's fitting that we have our Awareness Day in April, which is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Just a few announcements before I say a few words. If you've not already done so, please sign a release that is at the table when you first enter. We are filming today for an upcoming documentary. And also, if you are missing a child due to parental alienation, if you're a parent or a grandparent or a sibling or just a friend, anyone who's touched by it, and you would like to say a few words about that on video, you can see Rob. Can you raise your hand, Rob? And he will video your statement about parental alienation and how that has affected your family. Also, I wanted to let you know that on this table over here in front of me, we've got some books and videos that are good resources if you want to learn more about parental alienation. These are just samples, so please don't take these, but there's a really good variety. And there's a book that's in Spanish, and there's books about just the family dynamics. There's books about the legal aspects. And then there's a very special DVD called Welcome Back Pluto that's actually geared towards kids. So check those out and make a note of any of those that you might want to look into. I also wanted to announce that back in January we had a groundbreaking event called the Parental Alienation Think Tank. It was really the first of its kind, and it drew way more interest in people than we expected. We ended up standing room only. We had people sitting on the floor. It was just absolutely incredible. And wanted to announce today that we will be having part 2. We will be having a follow-up event on October 22nd, 2016. So join our Facebook group, which is Parental Alienation Awareness Organization USA North Texas Chapter, or you can find me on Facebook and I can add you to the group. So again, that's October 22nd. We'll be having a big follow-up event to our Parental Alienation Think Tank. I just want to let you know about the activities that we have for today, because we have something for everyone. For the kids, back behind this pavilion, there's a playground. We have face painting. We've got a lot of bubble activities. We've got a clown. He's making balloon animals, balloon hats that do fit the adults too if you guys want a hat. They're pretty fun. And everything is totally free, and we have take-home bottles of bubbles for everyone. So by all means, let the kids play and have a great time. There's a lot to do. We also have what we call the Tree of Love, which is where you can get one of these hearts from the check-in table, put the name of a child on the heart, and hang it in honor of that child. The clown that we have today is E.P. Chuckleberry, and I just want to thank him for participating. He's been with our event for about 5 years now, and he's a great supporter. So he's also a wonderful artist, so if you guys are interested, please ask him for his business card. I want to tell you briefly about the speakers that we have today. Today we're going to have Rod McCall. He's the father of Eric McCall, and Rod is the author of the upcoming book For the Love of Eric. Unfortunately, Eric is no longer with us as a direct result of a parental alienation situation. We also have Kim Dvornik, and Kim is the mother of Michael Dvornik. And sadly, Michael is also no longer with us. Michael took his own life due to parental alienation. We have Shelly Toner, and Shelly is a very active advocate from San Antonio, Texas. She's started a great support group in that area, and she's going to talk to us about creating awareness, starting a support group, and how she got started on that, and how you can also if you're interested. We have Allison Tate with us. She's an alienated mom, and she's been a great help to our efforts, and she's going to say a few words to you today about being an alienated parent. We have Michael Turry. Michael is an alienated dad, and Michael does amazing research on the enforcement of court-ordered parenting, specifically on Penal Code 2503, which states that interference with child custody is a felony in Texas. And we're going to have Ron and Sherry Palmer of Fixed Family Courts. Ron and Sherry have written several books about the constitutional rights of parents, and they help parents to reclaim those rights. They're working very hard with lawmakers on this issue, and we're really, really honored to have Ron and Sherry with us today. Something else that we're going to do today, if you're interested, is you might have seen online the hashtag erased parent signs, where parents are holding signs and it says hashtag erased parent, hashtag erased grandma. We've got a lot of those signs made today. We've got grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, sibling, and aunt and uncle, and Carla. Where are you, Carla? She might have stepped out. Well, we'll help you find Carla. She's got those signs, and here's Carla. She's got those signs, and so if you want to have your picture taken with an erased sign, find Carla, and she'll be happy to do that for you. So I just wanted to mention very briefly that parental alienation causes anxiety, depression, stress, eating disorders, substance abuse, self-harm behaviors like cutting, and as I had mentioned, it causes violence, suicide, and even murder. So we are going to touch on those things today, but we're going to try to be very mindful that there are kids here. If at any point you feel like it might be a little too much for kids, like I said, feel free to take them out to do bubbles and to see the clown and get some balloons and just have a good time, because we really want everyone to enjoy this day. Well, as I told you, my name is Wendy Perry, but 1 week ago today at this exact time, my name was Wendy Archer. I got married exactly 1 week ago today. Thank you. But I don't tell you that so you can congratulate me, even though it is awesome. I married a really wonderful guy. But I'm telling you that because I want to share with you what happened 1 week ago. And I usually don't talk about my personal situation. This is really different for me to talk about it today, but I think it's really important for me to tell you about this today. And before I go any further, speaking of that, I wanted to ask that at the end of today, if you would go to the advocates like Kim and Rod and thank them for speaking. That would really mean a lot to all of us. It's not easy to speak publicly about your personal situation. Besides the fact that it's very emotionally draining, the alienators use that against us. Often we do get backlash for speaking publicly. So it takes a lot of courage, and if you would take a moment to thank them for speaking today, I know it would really mean a lot. So as I told you, I got married 1 week ago today, and I'm alienated from my daughter, who is 26 years old. I've been alienated from her for 7 years. So for 1 month prior to the wedding, she kept texting me and texting my mom, who she's also alienated from, telling us that she wanted to come to the wedding and she was going to come to the wedding. I was really excited. My mom was excited, and my fiance was really looking forward to meeting her. And then I heard that she was getting pressured to not come to the wedding. Little comments were being made. that she surely wouldn't come to my wedding. And why would she? She maintained that she wanted to come and she was coming, and so we remained hopeful and optimistic. And I literally prayed that she would stay strong and come to the wedding because I knew she wanted to. I had just gotten my hair done and my makeup done, and I was just starting to put on my wedding dress when I got the text message that said, "I can't come to your wedding. I hope you understand." And I did understand. And I told her, "I do understand, and don't worry about it." But it was sad. I was sad, and my mom was heartbroken. My fiance was heartbroken for us. But what really upset me was knowing that my daughter was even more heartbroken than any of us because she wanted to come to my wedding, and I know that for a fact. My daughter wanted to come to the wedding, but she was too afraid that someone would find out. And I know that for a fact too. You know what really makes me upset? It really makes me upset when people say, "Shame on your daughter. Shame on her for treating her mother that way. She's old enough to know better. She's just rude and disrespectful. Shame on her." No shame on my daughter. My daughter is a wonderful person. She's kind and respectful and compassionate. She's caring. I know her. She is not rude, and she is not disrespectful. And I am not okay with people thinking that or saying that about my daughter. You know who is okay with people thinking badly and talking badly about their children? Alienators. You see, alienators control and manipulate and intimidate and pressure and even bribe their children to not have relationships with the other parent. They bribe them with all kinds of things like clothes and cash and expensive trips and even high-paying jobs, anything they can. But then the alienator steps back and says, "I'm not doing anything. I'm not keeping my child from seeing the other parent. My child is doing this all on their own." I see people nodding their heads out there. Putting the blame on the child. It's not enough for alienators to alienate the child. They're perfectly fine with people thinking that their child is rude and disrespectful, as long as people don't think that about them. They're okay with people thinking badly of their kids, that their kids are rude and disrespectful. I'm not okay with that. My daughter is an awesome person. Like I said, she's loving and kind and caring. And I will always defend her because I do understand. And I will never, ever blame her, no matter what. My daughter is an awesome person. I am not mad at her, and I am not disappointed in my daughter. In fact, I'm just as proud of her and love her just as much as I did 8 years ago, when she would call me several times every single day. That's how close we were, and we never had any issues between us. A few days ago, I did a radio interview with Ryan Thomas, and for those of you who don't know who Ryan is, he was an alienated child and teenager, and he is now reunified with his target parent, and he speaks about his experience. And to me, children who were alienated, who are now speaking out, are the true experts. They understand it better than anybody else. And Ryan said something that I thought was very important. that I think everyone should know. Ryan said, alienated children are not rejecting the target parent. They're rejecting the stress and anxiety and utter chaos that the alienating parent causes them when they have a relationship with the target parent. My daughter didn't reject me, and I know that. So there are two things I wanted to talk about real quickly before we listen to our other speakers today. I want to talk about that the prevention of parental alienation through education has to be our focus, and that focus has to start now. Education needs to start in elementary school and go through middle school, junior high, high school, and college. It needs to be part of the curriculum wherever family dynamics are discussed, mental illness, personality disorders. I want you to imagine that you grew up learning about it your whole life. Imagine that you grew up learning about parental alienation, obstruction of family bonds, and proper co-parenting. Now imagine this, if we all grew up learning about it, if we knew how dangerous it was and how it causes lifelong trauma and damage, that means everyone would grow up knowing about it, like attorneys, counselors, judges. And speaking of that, a lot of target parents feel like counselors and attorneys and judges are our enemies. But we need to make them our allies, because we all need to be on the same team. Our children need us all to be on the same team. So I urge you to rethink that if you feel like attorneys and counselors and judges are part of the problem. Let's educate them so they join our team to be part of the solution. So imagine that. Imagine that we lived in a world where we were all raised learning about parental alienation. We talked about it freely. We talked about co-parenting. Everybody just knew what it was because it was just part of life. And part of that education needs to be teaching children the skills they need to protect themselves from parental alienation. There are simple things that kids can say and do to protect themselves from alienating behaviors and to have relationships with both of their parents. They can actually learn these skills. We don't teach our children how to protect themselves from parental alienation. What a horrible disservice we're doing to our children by not teaching them how to protect themselves from this one form of abuse. Parental alienation is preventable, and it's preventable through education. I can't help but wonder if Rod McCall and his ex-wife and the counselors and attorneys and the judge in their case had grown up learning about parental alienation and obstruction of family bonds. I can't help but wonder if Eric would still be alive. Maybe if Michael Dvorak had grown up learning how to protect himself from parental alienation, if he had learned the simple skills of what to say and do so he could have relationships with both of his parents, maybe Michael wouldn't have taken his own life. If our society had been raised to understand how vicious and unacceptable parental alienation is, then maybe people would have helped Rod and helped Kim and Michael and helped all of us that are in this nightmare. In other words, maybe there wouldn't be bystander apathy. And that's the other thing I wanted to speak about today, is bystander apathy. I have a question for you. Would you high-five someone that you knew had sexually molested a child? Would you help promote someone in your community that you knew had physically abused a child? If you know an alienator, don't pat them on the back and say, "Good job, buddy. Good job keeping your child away from the other parent." I don't know anything that other parent actually did wrong, but I heard they're crazy. So I support you. Good job. Don't be that guy. Be a person with integrity and courage. Say to that person, "You know, I think you're manipulating your child to not have a relationship with the other parent. And that's not okay. You're hurting your own child." And when the alienator says, "I'm not doing anything, I'm not keeping my child from the other parent," and they will say that, tell them, "I actually know that children naturally love and want relationships with both of their parents. I'm going to keep an eye on this situation, and I hope to see that you facilitate and make sure that your child has a relationship with the other parent really soon." Remember what I shared with you before about Ryan Thomas and how he said that alienated children are not rejecting the target parent, they're rejecting the stress and anxiety and utter chaos that the alienating parent causes them when they have a relationship with the target parent. He also said rejection is not a reflection of the child. And remember what I said earlier, alienators can manipulate, intimidate, scare, and even bribe children into not having a relationship with the other parent. But there are two things that alienators want more than anything else in the world. And the alienators cannot accomplish these two things that they want more than anything. No matter what they do, they cannot accomplish these two things. Remember, I told you about the text message from my daughter saying that she couldn't come to my wedding. But I didn't tell you what her very last sentence was. Her last sentence was, "I still love you." I told you about my daughter, that she's caring and loving and compassionate, and she's also very brave. It was very brave of her to tell me that she loves me. My daughter wanted to come to my wedding, and my daughter still loves me. And that's all I need. And no one can ever take that away from me, no matter how hard they try. Because children do want relationships with both of their parents, and they do love both of their parents, even if they can't say so. So remember that. Remember that your children are not rejecting you. They're rejecting the stress and anxiety and chaos that the alienators bring upon them if they have a relationship with you. And remember that your children love you and they want a relationship with you, even if they can't say it. And so in remembering that, never ever blame your children, never ever stop reaching out to them, and never ever give up. Thank you.